You probably know this moment. Someone cancels on you at the very last minute. You'd been looking forward to it all week. You'd rearranged your schedule, and you still hear yourself say, "It's okay, don't worry. Totally fine, I get it." Or your partner raises their voice, says something cutting, and when they finally calm down and mumble, "Sorry, I was just stressed," your mouth replies, "It's okay, it's nothing." But later that night, you're replaying it in your head, feeling small, tight, and weirdly numb. If your mouth keeps saying, "It's okay," while your body keeps whispering, "No, it wasn't," this video is for you. Today, we're going to look at why some people always say it's okay, even when it isn't, what you were protecting when you learned that pattern, what it quietly costs you now, and small, realistic alternatives that don't require suddenly oversharing everything. This is Meta Insight Hub, where we don't just look at what people do, we look at the source code of the mind underneath it. It's okay is a strategy, not your personality. Let's start with one important reframe. You are not the person who's always okay by nature. You became that person for a reason. In psychology, we care less about the words and more about the function of the words. When you say "it's okay" over and over again, the function is usually avoid conflict, avoid being too much, avoid losing connection. It's like an emotional mute button. You press it when you feel, "This actually hurt, but if I show that, something worse might happen." So the question is not, "What's wrong with me that I'm like this?" The real question is, what did I live through that taught me my feelings are more dangerous than my silence? That's the first aha I want you to sit with. Origin 1, when feelings weren't safe growing up. For a lot of people, this pattern starts very early. Maybe you grew up with a parent who was overwhelmed or depressed, or someone who exploded easily, or a family where nobody talked about hard things. They just pretended everything was fine. If, as a child, you heard things like, "Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about," "Start. Why are you so dramatic? Look what you made me do." Your nervous system learned, my sadness makes people angry. My needs create problems. If I'm easy, I'm safer. So you became the calm one, the mature one, the child who didn't cause trouble. You weren't naturally low maintenance. You were trained to make yourself small so other people could stay comfortable. One of the deepest aha moments for people is this. I wasn't born low maintenance. I became low maintenance in relationships where it wasn't safe to have needs. Origin 2, shame and conditional love. The second layer is shame. Shame doesn't say, "I did something bad." Shame says, "I am bad. I'm inconvenient. I'm too much." If you absorbed messages like, "Other people have it worse. Stop complaining," you're making a big deal out of nothing. Why can't you just let it go? Then part of you might believe, my hurt is not important enough. If I show it, they'll pull away or roll their eyes. I only deserve love when I'm strong and easy. So "it's okay" becomes armor, not because you're fake, but because deep down you're terrified that if people saw the real level of pain, anger, or disappointment, they would decide you are too much. Here's the quiet logic running in the background. If I erase my hurt, maybe they'll stay. The tragedy is, yes, some people do stay, but they stay in a relationship with a version of you who doesn't really exist. Origin 3, you don't even know what you feel yet. There's another piece that doesn't get talked about enough. Some people say it's okay because they genuinely don't know what they feel. Psychologists call the extreme version alexithymia, difficulty identifying and describing emotions. But it also shows up in milder, everyday ways. Someone asks, "How did that make you feel?" And your brain goes, blank. You just have 3 settings: fine, stressed, tired. You feel the tight chest, the heavy stomach, but you don't have words like hurt, dismissed, or unimportant. So "it's okay" becomes your default placeholder, not because it's true, but because it's the only phrase available. A powerful reframe here is, I'm not lying when I say it's okay. I'm emotionally under-resourced. Nobody ever helped me put language to what I feel. The cost: quiet loneliness inside good relationships. On the outside, people like you look strong, composed, supportive, not like those dramatic people. On the inside, over time, the cost can be huge. It can look like you listen to everyone's problems, but when you're falling apart, you genuinely don't know who you're allowed to lean on. People tell you, "You're so understanding, you never get mad," and you smile, while a part of you thinks, you have no idea how much I swallow. You're in relationships where the other person feels deeply supported, but you feel oddly unseen. One of the most painful sentences I hear is, I'm surrounded by people, but nobody actually knows me. The world cannot respond to needs it never sees. If you always say it's okay, you're training everyone around you to believe you never need repair, never need apology, never need care. That's not because they're all selfish monsters. It's because the system is rigged. You protect them from your truth and then feel abandoned when they don't magically see it. Tiny language upgrades, 10% more honest than it's okay. Let's get practical. You do not have to jump from it's okay to a 30-minute speech about your inner child. A much more realistic goal is 10% more honest than before. Here are some tiny upgrades you can start using. Instead of, it's okay, it's nothing, try, I know it wasn't intentional, but it did sting. Instead of, it's fine, don't worry about it, try, I'll be okay, but I did feel a bit dismissed. Instead of, no, I'm fine, really, try, I'm managing, but I'm more tired, sad, overwhelmed than I've been letting on. Notice the structure. You're not accusing. You're not exploding. You're simply letting reality exist in the room. And here's the aha moment. Every time you replace one, it's okay, with a slightly more truthful sentence, you're not just teaching them who you are. You're teaching your own nervous system that your feelings are allowed to exist. That's how self-betrayal slowly becomes self-respect. Who actually deserves your honesty? Important reminder, not everyone has earned access to your inner world. You don't owe your full emotional truth to the coworker who gossips, the partner who mocks your feelings, the family member who always turns it back on themselves. So think of your life in circles. Inner circle, 1 to 2 people or a therapist, where you experiment with being 20 to 30% more honest. Middle circle, friends/colleagues, where you practice small upgrades like, today was actually hard, I'm pretty drained. Outer circle, people who've shown they can't handle your reality. With them, you focus more on boundaries than vulnerability. Your feelings are valuable data. You get to choose which labs you test them in. Micro body check. Which sentence feels more true? Before we close, let's do a tiny experiment together. Think of one recent moment where you said, it's okay. Maybe someone canceled, snapped at you, or forgot something important. Now, silently in your head, try these 2 sentences. Version A, it's okay, it was nothing. Version B, I'll be okay, but it did hurt. And just notice very gently, which one makes your chest tighten? Which one lets your shoulders drop even 5%? With which sentence do you feel a tiny bit more like yourself? We're not chasing what feels instantly comfortable, because honesty can be scary. We're chasing what feels honest and relieving over time. Closing. And what we'll do in the next video. If you saw yourself in this video, I want you to hear this very clearly. You didn't become the okay person because you're weak or fake. You became that person because at some point, it was the smartest way to protect connection and stay safe. But the strategy that once protected you might now be slowly making you lonely. You do not have to rip it off in one day. You can loosen it one slightly more honest sentence at a time. This video sits next to another one on this channel, Psychology of People Who Say I'm Fine All the Time. Together, they're about what happens when your mouth says you're okay, while your inner world is not. In the next video in this little series, we're going to go deeper into a related pattern. Why you apologize for everything, even when it's not your fault. We'll look at where over-apologizing comes from, and how to stop saying sorry for simply existing in the room. If this helped you see yourself even a little more clearly, leave a like so more people can find it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part. And if you feel safe, drop a very simple comment. My default phrase is blank. You don't have to tell your whole story. Even just naming the phrase is already a powerful step in self-awareness. This is Meta Insight Hub. You don't have to unlearn these patterns alone. We can keep reading the source code of your mind and your relationships together.